IELTS versus TOEFL. Which test is right for you? Are you trying to decide between IELTS and TOEFL? Both tests are accepted by top universities and immigration programs around the world. But the test format and focus are very different. In this video, we'll break down the key differences in the speaking styles, writing tasks, listening formats, scoring systems, and testing environments. We'll also help you reflect on your learning style and preferences so that you can decide which test would suit you best. So stick around and let's get started. Let's begin with a comparison of the two main exam formats. TOEFL is computer-based and offered year-round at testing centers all over the world. It's administered by the University of Michigan and currently has 3 versions: TOEFL IBT, paper-based, and CBT computer-based test. However, the paper-based test is only offered in very few countries. Over 20 years, TOEFL IBT is the most popular version. Let's take a closer look at it. The IBT consists of 4 sections: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Each section is scored from 0 to 30 points. It's giving a maximum total score of 120. What's special about TOEFL IBT is that it's integrated. This means that you'll be required to use your reading, listening, speaking, and writing skills in one task. For example, you may read a passage followed by questions that require you to listen to a recording while you read or write a response to a lecture that you hear. This shows university admissions officers that you have real-world English language skills. That is, your ability to use English to study and work in an academic environment. Unlike IELTS, TOEFL does not publish sample questions or practice tests online or in its publications. You can only access them through a paid service. Nevertheless, there is plenty of material available to help you prepare. The official website offers free practice questions and a preparation guide. Several excellent books have been written to help you prepare too. The IELTS exam, on the other hand, is paper-based and offered several times a year by the British Council and IDP Education in more than 140 countries. There are 2 versions: academic and general training. The academic version is for students applying to universities or wanting to study abroad. The general training version is for those who are migrating to an English-speaking country or applying for a job. Like TOEFL, IELTS consists of 4 sections: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. But unlike TOEFL, each section is a standalone test of your skills. These sections do not overlap, nor do they build on one another. Your scores will range from 1 to 9 for each section and 1 to 7 for the writing section. In total, you can achieve a maximum score of 9 for each of the 3 major skills, plus an additional 1 point for your writing skill. So the maximum score is 55. IELTS publishes sample questions and practice tests online and in its publications. The British Council website offers a variety of free resources including sample questions, preparation guide, and online courses. Several good preparation books have been published too. So, what's the difference between the 2 exams? Let's start with the reading and listening sections. Both tests feature reading and listening passages on a wide variety of topics. However, the passages on TOEFL tend to be longer and more technical. It also features a wider range of question types, including some that require you to use technology to answer. TOEFL passages are longer and more technical. The listening section presents recordings ranging from conversations to lectures to TV clips. Both tests feature listening passages on everyday topics, but TOEFL features more academic topics. Moving on to the writing section. TOEFL requires you to write just 2 responses to 2 different reading passages, whereas IELTS requires 4 responses to 3 different reading passages and 1 listening passage. TOEFL uses a holistic scoring system where your response is evaluated on a scale of 0 to 30, according to 5 equally weighted criteria. Meanwhile, IELTS uses an internal assessment system. Each of the 4 criteria, task responses, coherence and cohesion, lexical resources, and grammatical range and accuracy, are assessed holistically on a 9-point scale. Your scores for each criterion are combined to form your final score. Additionally, TOEFL allows spell checkers and grammar checkers in its writing section, but these tools are not allowed in IELTS. Finally, let's compare the speaking section. Both tests require you to answer questions on a variety of topics to assess your ability to communicate in English. You'll need to talk about yourself, your interests, and your experiences. You'll also need to describe visual images, discuss academic topics, and respond to unexpected questions. TOEFL uses an integrated approach, meaning that you may be asked to respond to a lecture you hear while looking at a table or chart. Your response to the question or task is recorded and later evaluated by raters. Your score depends on 4 equally weighted criteria, those being content, vocabulary, grammar, and delivery. IELTS, on the other hand, is an interactive face-to-face test. Your answers to the examiner's questions are recorded and later marked by another examiner. Your scores depend on 7 equally weighted criteria: fluency, coherence, vocabulary range, vocabulary precision, grammatical range, grammatical accuracy, and pronunciation. Let's move on and talk about the scoring system. TOEFL uses a numerical scoring system. Each of the 4 sections is scored from 0 to 30 points, giving a maximum total score of 120. While the 0 point is reserved for people who did not take the test or did not answer any questions, the 30 point is reserved for near-native speakers of English. On the other hand, IELTS uses an alphanumeric scoring system. Each of the 3 major skills, listening, reading, and writing, is scored from 1 to 9, and each band represents a different level of ability. Band 9, for example, represents an extremely high user. They say very little or nothing of the wrong thing, can understand virtually everything, even in the most technical texts, can write highly accomplished texts with only minor errors, if any. Bands 1, 2, 3 represent an emerging user who may not yet feel confident in using English in all situations. As for the writing section, scored from 1 to 7 instead of 1 to 9, because it assesses writing skills rather than communicative skills. The bands are quite similar, though. Band 7 represents a good user who can write clear and detailed text on a wide range of topics. Band 1, a very limited user who writes with numerous errors and mostly uses memorized chunks. What about the test duration? Both exams have the same length. The TOEFL, it takes 2 hours, and the IELTS Academic takes 2 hours and 45 minutes. Now, let's talk about the test environment. TOEFL is a computer-based exam, and it's designed to mimic real-world situations like using a computer to read electronic texts or watch videos on the internet. Most of the test is taken on a computer. However, you'll need to record your responses to the speaking and writing questions using a microphone and webcam. You should be able to see the screen clearly and hear the audio tracks properly. And there should be enough space for you to speak freely. Your computer will display a counter to let you know how much time you have left to answer each question or task. Also, you'll be instructed to check your responses and submit your exam. If you want to skip a question or task, you can do so and return to it later if there is still time. But you will be able to go back and change your answers once you VA submitted your exam. TOEFL is a paper-based exam. You'll receive paper booklets for the listening, reading, and writing sections. You'll also be given a separate sheet of paper for your writing responses. An invigilator will tell you when to begin and end the test and collect the exam papers when you finish. And finally, let's talk about the results. Your TOEFL results will be available online 10 days after the test date. Your IELTS results will be available online 13 days after the test date. You'll receive your scores in writing 4 to 5 weeks later. In conclusion, TOEFL measures your ability to use English in an academic setting, while IELTS assesses your overall ability in the English language. The choice between the 2 exams depends on your goals. If you want to study at a U.S. university, TOEFL is usually required. However, IELTS is generally preferred by UK, Canada, New Zealand, Ireland, and Australian universities. TOEFL is also required by most immigration programs such as the U.S. Permanent Residency Program, H-1B visa, K-1 visa, and Canadian Permanent Residency Program. Some universities accept either test, while others don't specify. You can find out which test you need to take by visiting the university websites. If you're looking for an exam that focuses primarily on academic English, TOEFL might be a good fit. Its integrated tasks measure your ability to read, listen, speak, and write about complex academic topics. If you enjoy studying on a computer and working with new technologies, TOEFL could be a good fit. TOEFL is also better if you're more comfortable writing in English rather than speaking. You'll have time to review and edit your responses before submitting. On the other hand, if you'd prefer a more traditional exam format with an in-person speaking test, IELTS might be better. If you enjoy talking about yourself and your experiences and discussing a range of topics with an examiner, this exam will feel more natural. IELTS is also a good option if you're applying to study in the UK, Canada, New Zealand, Ireland, or Australia, which are countries where a large number of non-native speakers live. Because IELTS was designed to assess the communicative rather than academic skills of non-native speakers. So which test should you choose? That depends on your learning style, comfort level, and goals. We hope this helped you decide which test is right for you. Good luck with your preparation and test taking.